What we're seeing across the world right now isn't a series of disconnected crises. It's not random instability, and it's not governments suddenly losing control. What's unfolding follows a recognizable pattern, one that appears whenever global power structures start shifting. Different countries, different headlines, but the same underlying logic. In January 2026, the United States carried out a direct military operation in Venezuela, striking targets and detaining President Nicolas Maduro under the framing of law enforcement, drug trafficking, and restoring democratic order. But Venezuela is not just another political flashpoint. It holds some of the largest proven oil reserves in the world. Historically, U.S. intervention in Venezuela has always aligned with energy access, sanctions pressure, and regime change objectives rather than purely legal concerns. Russia and China responded immediately at the United Nations, condemning the operation as a violation of Venezuelan sovereignty and international law. These objections weren't symbolic. Both countries have economic and strategic interests in Venezuela and see U.S. unilateral action as a threat to the global balance of power. This moment reflects a growing breakdown in post-Cold War U.S. dominance. Mexico and several Latin American governments publicly rejected the U.S. justification, warning that law enforcement language is increasingly being used to mask regime change and military intervention. For much of Latin America, this echoes decades of coups, sanctions, and destabilization carried out under the banner of democracy and security, with long-term consequences that the region still lives with today. While these foreign operations are happening, the United States is also escalating internal enforcement. ICE raids have expanded, including aggressive door-to-door operations, heavily armed agents, and incidents where U.S. citizens were killed during enforcement actions. These tactics mirror military logic more than civil policing and reflect how external security frameworks are being imported into domestic governance. Historically, when empires begin losing uncontested control abroad, they respond by tightening internal control. Borders become more rigid, surveillance increases, enforcement becomes militarized. This isn't a sign of confidence, it's a sign of systems under strain, trying to maintain authority as global conditions shift. Now look at Africa, where conflict is almost always framed as ethnic violence, terrorism, or internal instability. What's often left out is Africa's role in global power competition, especially as Western influence declines and African states increasingly reject foreign military presence and economic dependency. Nigeria recently experienced U.S. military strikes framed as counterterrorism operations against extremist groups. While Nigeria does face serious security challenges, foreign airstrikes represent a deeper involvement in West African security architecture. These actions also place Nigeria within broader Sahel dynamics, where counter-terror narratives often overlap with geopolitical positioning. Following this period of escalation, Nigeria deployed military pressure toward Burkina Faso, a country whose current leadership has openly rejected Western military partnerships and influence. Rather than direct invasion, pressure is applied regionally, using neighboring states to enforce alignment and discourage deviation from Western security frameworks. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger each expelled Western military forces and pursued alternative alliances and sovereign security strategies. In response, all three were rapidly labeled unstable, dangerous, or illegitimate in international media and policy discourse. In many cases, instability follows external pressure, not the other way around. To connect these events, you have to look at the Red Sea. This corridor handles a significant percentage of global trade, energy shipments, and military transit. Disruption, or control of the Red Sea has direct consequences for Europe, Asia, and global supply chains. Against this backdrop, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu formally recognized Somaliland without African Union approval. This move bypassed international consensus and immediately raised alarms across Africa and the Arab world. Recognition in this context is not symbolic. It establishes political and potentially military footholds. Somaliland sits near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the narrow passage connecting the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean. Any military or intelligence presence here can influence shipping lanes, naval operations, and regional power dynamics. This makes Somaliland strategically valuable far beyond its internal politics. When you map current conflicts and military pressure points, Yemen, Sudan, Djibouti, Eritrea, a clear picture emerges. These states collectively surround the Red Sea. Ongoing instability in each creates conditions where external powers can justify increased naval presence and intervention under security pretexts. Across regions, the pattern remains consistent. Destabilization is framed as local failure. Resistance is labeled extremism. Intervention is justified as security, and control of routes and resources follows. The language shifts, but the objectives remain the same. Africa is not uniquely unstable. What threatens existing power structures is sovereignty, the refusal to align militarily, economically, or politically with dominant systems. Countries that assert independence become framed as risks to global order. To understand what's happening, stop watching individual headlines in isolation. Watch trade routes, military bases, recognition decisions, and border enforcement patterns. Power rarely announces itself. It moves quietly, positioning long before conflict becomes visible.